Today is the 7th of September 2012. We're at the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York. My name is Wayne Clark. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and date and place of birth, please?
Yes, my name is Charles Henry Bennett. I'm born in Glens Falls, New York, and I'm living in Hudson Falls right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
when were you born?
oh, I was born in Glens Falls, January 16, 1924.
Now, did you attend school in Glens Falls?
Yes, grade school, high school.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, I left early to go to a trade school.
Okay.
And I went to the New York State Veterans Vocational School in Troy, New York. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yes.
That's why I had 2 years of electronic study.
Yes, I think that's still in existence, only I think it's called the Educational Opportunity Center now.
All right.
Now, when you went into the service, did you enlist or were you
I
drafted?
was drafted.
And what year was that?
1943. Now,
Oh.
let me comment on that.
Sure.
I've lived all my life in Glens Falls,
Mm-hmm.
or the area. And at that time, I had about a 6-month job in Pennsylvania. So I was in Pennsylvania when I got my draft notice and was drafted down there.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and they sent me to Fort Dix, where I got an Army serial number beginning with 33503626. But anyway, the 33 in the beginning marks you with somebody from Pennsylvania.
Oh.
If you're from New York, you were 32, and mine was 3T. Now, every once in a while, the Glens Falls newspaper will put out an article listing all the people who served in World War II.
Uh-huh.
My name is not on it.
Oh, because your name isn't in their records.
Evidently.
Right.
And probably someplace in Pennsylvania I'm listed as being a veteran from there.
Your name is on a monument down there somewhere.
That explains why you won't find my name in the newspaper. That's all when they give that listing.
I see. Now, do you recall, going back a little bit, do you recall where you were when you heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
I was home and listening to the radio.
Were you still in high school at that point?
Yes. Yes, it was.
All right. Now, did your life change at that point?
Not immediately, no. I would continue doing what I would normally do, which was almost nothing at the time. Playing with the gang, and that sort of thing.
But I mean, was there like rationing or shortages of
there was
things?
rationing eventually. We had to have rationing tickets for butter and gasoline, I don't know what else. But there was rationing. So it's changed to that extent.
All right. You were drafted in 1943.
Yes.
And where did you report to? Well, actually, what city were you drafted out of?
I was living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at the time.
Okay.
And after I reported to the duty officer in Harrisburg, and they sent me to Fort Dix, New Jersey. That's where I got my serial number and was told I was going to be in the Army Air Corps.
Oh.
And of course, at that time there was no Air Force.
Right.
It was just the Army Air Corps.
Now, did they put you in the Air Corps because of your trade school background?
No, they put me in the Air Corps because I was working for the Air Corps repairing aircraft engines that came out of the Liberators.
Oh.
That's how I ended up in the Air Corps, I guess. Because I worked for them. I was servicing Pratt & Whitney engines.
Now, you didn't get any kind of deferment because you were working in the aircraft industry?
I didn't try. I probably couldn't, but I didn't try.
Okay. So you went to Fort Dix for your basic training.
Right.
What was that like for you?
Oh, just a mess of people running around, confused. I wasn't there very long ago. They sent me to Miami Beach, Florida for basic training.
For the Air Corps?
Yeah, BTU 9, Basic Training Unit 9, down in Florida. Staying in a luxury hotel on the beach. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Sure.
But it didn't turn out to be good because when the Army took over, they took a room that was intended for 2 people, moved out all the furniture, and moved in bunk beds. Oh. So we had 12 men in a room intended for 2. It got a little crowded. And
one bathroom for 10 people?
There was actually one for, yes, I think we were 12 in that room.
Okay.
And instead of eating in a restaurant, they put a building up on the lawn, and that was our mess hall.
Uh-huh.
But the good side was we were right on the beach. We could walk on the beach in spare time.
Mm-hmm.
We could visit Miami Beach, the city, see what they had to offer.
Hmm.
It was good living.
Now, after you completed your basic training, where did they send you to next?
Basic training from there, I went to, well, actually, it was 3 separate cities.
Mm-hmm.
Harrisburg, Denver, Colorado, Davis Mountain Field in Denver, and we went to Las Vegas for various courses.
Now, what kind of courses did you take?
Well, that was to get us. Las Vegas was a gunnery school.
Mm-hmm.
In Las Vegas, we'd go out in the range and shoot pistols, shoot rifles, they put us on a truck and drive us through the woods. These clay feeders would come flying out of the woods, and we had to knock them down.
Uh-huh.
And the main thing was the 50 caliber machine gun. That was going to be our weapon for combat. So we had to take those apart, put them together, know all about them, which wasn't complicated because they're not a complicated gun.
Uh-huh. Did you also attend like an engine school or an airframe school too? Or strictly like a gunnery school?
Well, it was gunnery, but then later on, they'd put us at Davis Mountain Field in Tucson, and we two-seater pilot in front, gunner in back, standing up with a machine gun, and they flew us over the desert, and we shot at dummy planes, moving planes, and they put us in the air, and we shoot at a moving target. The moving target would be a big screen that you could put bullets go through, and we'd have maybe half a dozen men shooting at that. But every man had a bullet. All his bullets were colored. It would typically be red, blue, or etc. So when it was all over, they'd pull the screen down, count all the reds, count all the blues. There's no who shot the targets and
I
where.
see. Now, do you recall what type of airplane you were flying on?
At that time, it was an AT-6.
Oh, I see.
Just a two-seater, like I
Yep.
said. And we also, they put us in classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd fly German planes out across the screen. We had to learn to identify all the German planes, and whenever they flash, it was just a plain silhouette. So we had to know those planes. I suppose that was so we wouldn't shoot everyone down.
I see. Now that was in Las Vegas
Well,
or right outside?
we moved from Denver to Colorado to Las Vegas to Tucson. It was in that area. And I forgot just
Okay.
which one it was in.
What area did you like the best?
Tucson.
Tucson?
At that time, Las Vegas was nothing. There was no hot bright
I
lights there.
suppose, yeah.
Tucson was almost nothing. No bright lights, but they've grown a lot since then.
Mm-hmm.
Denver was a nice area, but we got to go trips into the mountain there.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Now, when did they send you overseas?
After that training there, I was sent to McCook, Nebraska,
Mm-hmm.
where we were assigned with B-24.
Oh.
Then we spent about 7 months flying across the United States, not all the United States, central United States, bombing Capitol buildings and bridges with the camera.
Okay.
So that's how we got our practice.
So excuse me. So at that point, you were assigned to a crew, or?
I was a crew. I was a tail gunner on the crew,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
we just practiced for about 7 months.
Uh-huh.
And at one time in the winter, it got to be 40 below. The pilot let us know that we were 40 below zero.
Wow.
So you might think that was too cold, but it wasn't.
Uh-huh.
We had a suit,
One of those
like a
electric.
long john,
Yeah.
but full of wires, heated
Uh-huh.
wires. And each leg had a socket in it, so you can plug your boots in, and each cuff had a socket in it, so you can pull your gloves in. So we were heated from toe to head,
Uh-huh.
and we had the control to put that however heat we wanted.
Uh-huh.
Well, that was comfortable at 40 below.
Yeah.
Except the darn mass, your vapor would turn to water,
Uh-huh.
and you'd have a cold liquid coming out of your mask. That was a nuisance.
So after your training, what happened next?
They put us on a train. Oh, one thing they always said, be there at 6 or 8 in the morning, whatever the time. Be there at 8 in the morning, because you're going to ship right then. So we get there at the proper time, and then we find out we're going to ship at 6 at night. We just sit around doing nothing. That's the Army way.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that I was sent to, we put on 2 trains, and went to Virginia. Patrick Henry Field, I think, or something like that, where they put us on a boat. At that time...
Now, when you went over, did you go over with your crew?
Yes.
Okay.
We were on a ship.
Yeah.
At that time, they didn't need planes over there. They had all kinds of planes. But they
I'm sorry, when did they send you overseas?
I got a date here if I got it.
Okay.
Where's Virginia? Let me check.
Well, approximately. It doesn't have to be exact if you don't have it.
Since I've got it written down, I looked at it. It was June 25th, 1944 that we reported to Virginia. And then we put us on an ocean liner.
Yeah.
And
so you missed the D-Day invasion.
Yes.
Okay.
That was
June 6th of 44.
It was 43. I got the date wrong. 1943.
Oh, 43 you went over.
Invasion hadn't occurred yet.
Okay.
Well, it took us about 20 days to get across Europe because we zigzagged through the submarines.
Do you recall
in a convoy.
Do you recall the name of the boat?
It was something like U.S. Santa Rosa. That's what's coming to my mind, Santa Rosa. It was a nice luxury liner. Unfortunately, I had a cabin with several others, and all the infantry were down in the hold. They didn't have it as nice.
Now, did you get seasick at all?
No, not in that boat.
How was the food on the ship?
No, fair GI food. It was good, nothing special.
And whereabouts did you land?
Magnolia, Italy, which is a suburb of Naples. And from that they put us across Italy to a point just opposite Naples, but on the Adriatic Sea, instead of where Naples is. And that was Cerignola, where they had the 465th Bomb Group and a few others. All were scattered at the airfield ground. I was assigned to one of those.
And your whole crew was with you at that point?
Yes, we were a crew. And
what was your first mission like?
Well, that was August 3rd, 1943. And it was an easy one. We went to Friedrichshafen, Germany, which was not a defended target. We went up after bombing the back. It was uneventful because there was no opposition. Well, let me say at that time, by the time I got to the war, the German Air Luftwaffe had just about been destroyed. They've been in action for a couple of years already, and they slowly were shot down. Anyway, they were nothing, and they didn't have any oil to run to all the planes they wanted to run. We were bombing their oil targets, their oil storage and refining, like Palestine and Buckhammer, two of the worst targets in Europe.
So you had to put up probably with a lot of flak from
at the tough targets. I don't know if I mentioned, but I flew 35 sorties, 35 trips. Sometimes, if you go to Palestine, if you went to Buckhammer, places like that, you get credit for 2 missions. So we had to fly 35 sorties or 50 missions, whichever came first. In my case, they were the same thing. So a tough target counted twice, because you might not go back.
What was your worst mission?
Buckhammer. Well, Buckhammer and Palestine, side by side, were equally. Buckhammer was a little bit worse because there was a lot more people there.
And how many planes would participate in these
bombings?
That's
a good comment, too. I gave you a report about our flights, and each report there on the flight would say about 30, 31, 32 planes took off. But that was a small portion of the Air Force over there, in the Air Corps, because they had about 200 planes they could put in the air at any time. That number that's in this book here was just my group, the 456 bomb group. So if they had 30 planes, we might have had 200 in the air.
Okay. Now, did you fly mostly the same plane or different planes?
No, we flew a different plane. They weren't assigned to us. The way the crews were rotating, they decided not to give them one plane.
I see. Now, was your flight jacket decorated at all?
No.
You didn't have like the bombs or missions painted on it or anything?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
Uh,
And what was your living conditions like?
well, we were in a tent,
Uh-huh.
and tent held maybe 6 or 8 men, and they'd give us a cot, with 2 or 3 sheets, and no mattress. So we had Italian people working in the campground. We grabbed one of the sheets he gave us, took it to one of the men working, one of the Italian men, give him the sheet and $10, and he'd take it home and come back the next day with a mattress. And sew the thing together. And they had something nice, soft inside. Beautiful mattress.
Huh.
Stuff very comfortable in it. But we had, it cost us $10, we said nothing. And we did have a nice, comfortable bed. Also, in the wintertime, it got chilly. Once in a while you get a little snow, but not like here, but just a little bit. Temperatures might be in the 30s and 40s. We needed heat, and they didn't supply us the stove. So the guys would go out and requisition a 50-gallon drum, cut it in half, make a little opening in it for the front, put a stove pipe through it, and run it then up through the tent, and run a copper tube from outside from 100 octane gasoline tank into the stove. And outside the stove we have a little valve that we could just that water would go in, drip, drip, drip. And after a couple of drips in it, we'd throw a match in, it would light up. We had a flame for the rest of the day. And you could adjust that flame. Nice heat. The only one problem with it was if during the day underneath we had a metal pan for it to drop in. And during the day, that metal pan would get real hot. If the fire went out for any reason, then we had a problem. Because we tried to put gasoline into it, especially 100 octane.
Oh, geez.
It would vaporize.
Yeah.
So what we do is get everybody outside the tent, and one volunteer who was brave enough or foolish enough was let it drip in there, and that stuff would evaporate, and you throw a match in. So you make sure you didn't have a lot of vapor in there, and the thing would boom. It never destroyed anything. It didn't burn the stove,
but you didn't use wood at all, just the dripping gasoline.
Dripping gasoline. No, the wood ain't there.
No wood.
It lasted all the long. So 100 octane gas was burned really nice. Of course, they used thousands of gallons on every flight, so we had a good supply.
Okay.
So that was our campground experience.
Now, did your unit lose any aircraft or many aircraft?
Yeah. On my entire 35 trips, we lost 12 aircraft, 121 men, 2 wounded. One bombardier severely wounded by flak, and 2 gunners wounded by flak. Flying over the bike camera, like I mentioned, the #1 and #2 target. At Palestine, the first trip to Palestine, we lost a couple planes. I don't remember which one. But the first trip one of the trips to Buckhammer, which was in Czechoslovakia, I could see 2 planes just get blown apart. And the third one, I didn't see, but I got a report on them through our earphones that the third one was going down. That was tough, it was rough. And at that same, while we were on our bomb run, all of a sudden we heard a funny noise, like someone was taking a metal broom and running it on the outside of the plane. And we knew right away that was flak, but the flak that it expended its power. It was just floating shrapnel in the air, and our plane was pushing it aside.
Oh.
So I thought, if that had been 6 foot closer, it would have been goodbye B-24. But that's just the way it happened.
Now, did you have any other close calls or any flak damage? Or?
That was it.
That was
and
it.
As a gunner, I never had to fire my guns at the enemy planes. We did get fighters in our area. We could see them, but they never came close enough, so I had to fire my guns.
Now, did you have much contact with the civilian population at all?
Not too much. There were some workers there, and we talked to them once in a while. But our big contact was going into town and go to the Red Cross or get a coffee and donut. And incidentally, you've probably heard of the donut line, haven't you?
Sure.
Well, that was one of our delights, coming back from a long flight. We enjoyed landing there and have the Red Cross or the Salvation Army, a bunch of ladies there, feeding us good fresh donuts and good donuts. That was really a delight.
Donuts and coffee, huh?
I really enjoyed that. You mentioned how we fared over there. We had on one of his flights, he had to go on sick call and they grounded him. So when our 35 mission, call them mission one, but when they were over, he had one to go. And on that last trip, because they put him on a plane, a B-24 that was going to Southern Pole, a long flight, maybe 8 hours. Plane took off, we never heard from him again. We never knew what happened to him. So luck. He just went on sick call the wrong day, I guess.
Now, how long did one of your typical missions last?
A long one would be 8 hours. A short one would be, a real short one would be 3-4 hours. We would bomb a British bridge or Martian, 3 or 4 hours. But an average one, I would say, would be 6 hours.
Now, once you got back from a mission, did you go through a debriefing process?
Oh, yes, every time. In fact, if we went to the donut line first, we catch hell. We were supposed to go to the debriefing first, because they want to know everything that happened, what was fresh in their mind. But we still like to go to the donut line first.
Now, did they give you guys like a shot of whiskey or brandy when you got back?
No.
Or? No?
Not that I know of, maybe somebody else. I wouldn't want to take it anyway, because I don't know. I'm not against whiskey, but I just don't like the taste. I don't know what it does.
Sure.
So I won't drink it.
Now, were you overseas at the end of the war?
At the end of the war in Europe?
Yes.
Yes. I was there. I read the report about Franklin Roosevelt dying.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. What was the feeling amongst everybody when they heard about the death of the president?
Just sadness. Really unhappy, but it happened.
And then it was only about a month later the war ended in Europe.
Right.
Was there much celebration going on? Or were there rumors you guys were going to be sent to Japan? Or?
No, I wouldn't know about Japan. At that time, they had what they called a point system. If you went to a target like Felicity, you got credit for being in the dangerous area. If you went to Black Hammer, you got credit. You went to Rome Arnold area or Beach, you got 5 points credit for every zone you went into. You got it once, you didn't get it for every trip there. So at the end of the war, if you had a certain number of points, you were discharged automatically. I had one more than necessary. I think that number was 80, I'm not sure. But whatever it was, I had one more than necessary. So I was going to get discharged if I went home. And I thought to myself, there's nobody home except my family. I don't know anybody there. If the kids are all out in the war, I don't want to go home right now. So I went to the commanding officer and volunteered to stay there. Any job they needed. And they needed me. They put me as a clerk in the S2 office, where I answered the phone and kept the record straight. But I enjoyed it over there at the time. I wasn't fighting.
Now, did you ever see any USO shows over there?
Oh yes, we went to. I don't remember now, but I did go to some.
When did you actually come back to the States?
Let's see, that would be last mission was November 22nd. Then I transferred to S2 and leave Italy July 5th, 1945. And was home on July 18th, discharged. When I got to Fort Dix, where I was discharged from, there was a lot of people, a lot of soldiers at GIs, all being transferred at various points. And the guy that talked to me, he looked at my paper and he said, "You want to discharge?" And the whole room under the roar. They wanted to go home, but I was the only one who wanted to go home that day. So that was an experience.
So you went home. Did your parents know you were coming?
No, I don't know where they were. They had separated, and they went over in Glens Falls. I was living in Glens Falls. Well, I was living with my father there, but he didn't know I was coming. Let me mention one other thing.
Sure.
While we were the S2 group, not flying, we get 3 or 4 days off at a time. So one day I decided I wanted to go to see Vatican. and but it was 200 miles away. So I said, well, I'll hitchhike it. So I got a 3-day pass, went out to the highway, and stood there. Now in Italy at that time we had all kinds of motor vehicles, British and American. So I was standing by the road. Within 5 minutes, a British lorry pulled up. Said, "You want to ride?" I said, "Yes, where are you going? To Rome?" He said, "I'm going to Rome. Come on." I had direct Rome. So that was my hitchhiking experience. Then coming back, I had something very similar because there were so many vehicles. And if you were in a uniform, they were willing to leave you by the road.
Sure. Now you got back home. You were discharged. Did you make use of the GI Bill at all?
Yes. As soon as I heard about it, I applied to go to this one in Troy. What was Veteran Vocation Club, I think. I wanted to take up electronics. And I got approved. I got a monthly check. Wasn't much, but enough. So I spent 2 years in that school learning electronics. And when I got out, through that course, I got my FCC license to operate radio stations, not transmitters. I worked for WWSC, who was just going on the air for a short while. And after a while, I was hired by GE to service their electronic equipment here in Hudson Falls. And I worked for them for 29 years, plus 3 or 4 years before that with other outfits. So I worked about 33, 35 years. And because of the GI Bill, because I had served in World War II. So World War II determined the rest of my life. And when I got through the GE, I got a nice pension from them. I got the Social Security. I found Edith, my wife. We got married. We bought a motorhome. We spent the next 25 years traveling the country in a motorhome. Loved it. So 2.5 years in the service, World War II, fixed the rest of my life.
Wow. Very nice. Now, did you join any veterans organizations at all?
At first I joined the American Legion. But that's just social club, and I'm not a social person that way, so I dropped out after a year. I haven't joined any more since.
And have you attended any reunions or kept in touch with anyone you were in the service with?
Not in the service.
Okay.
We just lost contact.
Okay. And what year did you get married?
1992. March 20th. It was March 20th? March 20th, 1992, in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
And we love Tucson. We spent a lot of our winters there. Some of our winters in Texas or in Florida, but Tucson, we're hikers, we're climbers. We've climbed all the 46 peaks up here. We've climbed 22 of the highest peaks in the state. And done a lot of hiking, we just loved it. We were able to go to Alaska. A funny incident happened we were going from Alaska to the Yukon on a bright sunny day, and we had to pass a customs office, a little shack, and there was nice bright reflecting ponds around, nice clouds reflecting out of the pool. Everywhere we went was beautiful, and this customs guy was leaning back like this on the building. I drove up and got high, and he said, "We get weather like this 3 or 4 times a year. I ain't getting out of this chair. Go on." That was funny. So,
now I think you sort of touched on this with the service affecting your life, but being in the service, what kind of effect or change did it have on your life? Any problems?
I would say none, except that it gave me that GI Bill. That definitely affected my life. One thing we didn't mention when we were overseas, the Army had a policy of giving you a week at R&R, and that week was on the Isle of Capri. Now, Isle of Capri was a beautiful spot. Nothing there but military values. We were never bombed by either side. So they sent us there for a week, and it was beautiful. We were in paradise. Nice luxury hotel. Nice restaurant to eat in. Didn't cost us a cent. Just had a good time there. And while I was there, I got a chance to go to the Blue Grotto. If you ever get in Italy, don't miss that. That was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. You have to get in a rowboat, and you have to lay on low, and the guy run the boat in, and then you see blue reflections that are out of this world. It's just, the beauty is just fantastic. So, I'll mention that. And also, while there, the second Roman Emperor, Tiberius, had a castle on Capri. And I'd take 3 or 4 mile walk over to it just to see it. But it was nothing but a bunch of marble walls then, totally ruined. But I enjoyed it anyway. So we did have our good times.
Okay.
Did I tell you about going to the Vatican?
You said you hitchhiked to get there.
Well, I started in the Vatican. Well, there was a lot of people there actually, a lot of GIs. And I got into the room, well, I passed the Pietà, and they had a rubbish toll like everybody does. Then I got into the Sistine Chapel. You went in groups because it was so crowded. And while beautiful, beautiful. I loved everything I saw. But I was out there, the Pope walked by. He spoke to everybody that was in the line there. He stopped in front of me, he put his hand out, and we talked and shook it. And later I got hell for that. He said, when that Pope puts his hand up, you got to kiss his ring. You don't shake his hand. I didn't know, what did I know about kissing the ring? Anyway, he said, he knew when he smiled at me, he said, where from? I said, upstate New York. He's very nice. And then he walked on. That was Pius XI. So it was a nice experience to have. And also, I thought I might get a chance to see him. So before I went, I bought some rosaries. I have an aunt who was a devout Catholic. And when he went by, I asked him to bless it. And he did. When I gave her that rosary at home, she almost started crying. The Pope would bless it. And she was a very devout Catholic.
Now you brought some photographs too. Do you want to show us those and tell them when and where they were taken?
You know about this one?
Show us that certificate you've got right there.
This one?
Yeah.
What do you want me to hold it up? Or?
Yeah, hold that up.
You know, this was this side, and I cut it down. But...
Okay. Yeah, if you can hold it up right in front of you, and I can focus right in on it. Actually, can you hold it back towards you because it's a little too close? Okay. Get the gist of it, but
well, it is hard to read.
Yeah. Well, all right. What is that? What is that for?
It was just they gave all the air crews when we left it. Like we received that.
Okay. All right. You want to show us some of the photographs?
This is the only one I got that's. You've seen that. You want to photograph it?
Okay. That one up in the corner there, is that you?
That's me. That's a picture that the Air Force sent, the Air Corps sent to the Glenfall Coast Guard.
Okay, let me just focus in on that. Okay. And then there was the one below that, that's a group photograph with you in it.
Is that the crew?
Yes.
That was my crew. And the guy in the dark coverall instead of the uniform, he's the guy who came up and met us, and you never know what happened to him.
Okay. All right, got him. Okay, any other photographs there with you in them?
Yeah. Well, that's the same as this.
Yeah, so just what those ones for.
Okay, yeah. This is in the tail curve.
Oh, okay. Yep. Let me zoom in on that. Okay. Now, let's see. The bottom one. Is that your crew also?
No, that's the S2 group that I worked with, and when my combat duty was over.
Okay. Now, the crew you flew with, okay, you can put that down. The crew you flew with, do you know if any of those guys are still living? Or?
I never heard. I don't know what happened. We were all spread around. And
okay.
At that age, I wasn't a writing person. I didn't write to anybody.
So you never tried to contact them? Or?
No. Didn't even have their addresses. So I made no effort to contact them. We were good buddies, but the war was over.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have any questions? Or?
This is what the Air Force gave us when we left. I thought you might be interested in it.
Oh, actually, I could probably zoom right in on the cover and get that in. All right, got it. Now, did you have a regular type of a unit patch that you wore on your flight jacket or uniform?
I had this on.
Besides, yeah.
And it had the stripes for the staff sergeant.
Right.
And
Was there like a regular squadron?
I wore my wings, these wings, right here. And
Okay.
I don't remember if I had anything else or not.
Okay.
With the housing accommodations in Italy, were the officers housed separately in a different
we were
tent?
always separate.
Yeah,
We had the tents with our wooden stove,
right.
with a gas stove, and it was comfortable.
Right, and the officers had just their own tent, but it was about the same though, wasn't it?
They were a little more plushy.
A little bit more plush.
One thing, some might surprise somebody, they might ask me, were they ever scared? I'm going through any of those flight rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And I refused to be scared. That sounds funny. What I reasoned was, I might get blown apart in a minute. So what can I do about it? Absolutely not. I had to sit there, look through that window at the plane behind me, look for. There's absolutely nothing I could do. So I refused to be. I was concerned, but I just wouldn't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Did your group ever get escorted by the Tuskegee Airmen for support?
They didn't get that close to us.
No.
And like one of the reports, they were good.
Mm-hmm.
They were good. And in that movie that they came out with, they showed that they never left. Well, at the beginning they did, but in the end they never left the bombers.
Right.
They wouldn't chase the parties, and that was what the bombers liked. So.
Okay, well, thank you very.
This is yours, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you so much for your interview.
Well, I'm glad to do it.
Do you have one of those maps with you?
I have them all right here.
Oh, okay.
There's where my.
Yeah, that's his notes on the
Oh,
missions.
okay.
That's your dad shared that with me. My father also flew in B-24s, and my father's last mission was August 3rd, 1944. So your father started where my father left off.
Okay, we're rolling here, so I want to zoom in on that if we can.
What
Jason.
amazes me on these is that there's no feed to them. They've got maps on both sides.
Yeah.
And you can see clearly everything on here,
Wow, those are
and the
amazing.
maps don't go through, or the lines don't go through.
Okay. Yeah, can you just hold one up in front of you?
I mean, get one that says Germany or something on it. It's not that one.
Well, that's
It's all right,
yeah, just one.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm probably not going to
I don't know if that's
get a lot of detail in.
It might be upside down. No, I don't think it is.
No, that's correct.
Oh, this one's got Italy on it. What's there?
I see Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Can I turn it over?
Greece.
Sure.
Yeah.
This one has Italy on it. And again, you notice
Right.
no feed through on that ink.
Right.
They did a marvelous job on those.
Mm-hmm.
And those are on silk, huh?
I call it silk. I still
Yes.
like silk.
Silk or maybe rayon.
I heard that after the war, the ladies were using those for scarves and things. They were making blouses out of them or scarves because of the materials.
And also in the kit we had some translations from various languages, maps. And
Did
this
you ever look at that?
this they called chip paper, CHIT. It's just blanks with a pencil in there. If you got shot down and you got captured by friendly people, you could write an IOU. They told us the Army always honored them. If someone said, I'll get you to your next camp for $50, you give them an IOU for $50.
Oh, really?
And this is what I was told. I never had to try it. So,
It's a good thing.
so anyway, it's...
All right.
Yeah, list of phrases. What surprised me on here was they tell you how to say Heil Hitler
Well,
in
that might save your life. Who knows?
in English and German, and it's obviously still the same. It's Heil Hitler and all the other ones.
Okay. Thank you again.